Good evening and welcome to tonight's District 8 Town Hall. My name is Vivian Moreno and I'm the council member for District 8, which includes Barrio Logan, Logan Heights, Sherman Heights, Grant Hill, Memorial, Stockton, Shelltown, and also the South Bay. But today we're focused on the North. So I wanted to let you guys know just a little bit more about myself. I was born and raised in San Diego, went to UCSD, and was working as a broker buyer in the metal industry. My degrees in political science, and to say the least, I definitely was not fulfilled in my line of work. So I volunteered on David Alvarez's campaign in 2010, not knowing nothing about politics and really how it worked. From there, I was offered a position in the council member's office. I became a representative. Subsequent to that, I was the president of the San Diego County Young Democrats, became a delegate of the Democratic Party. All throughout that time, as soon as I graduated from university, I became a mentor in the Hermanitas program for Mana de San Diego, was a mentor for 5 years, jumped on their board, and really got to know how nonprofits work and how they impact our community. Very, very happy to be here. I was elected into office in 2018. It was a very tight race. I walked 8,000 doors, letting people know who I am. I was elected. So fast forward to 2 years into office. I am currently the chair of the audit committee. I also sit on the MTS board as the mayor's representative, and also SANDAG board of directors as the mayor's representative. Additionally, I was appointed to TCAC in the state government as a representative for counties. Sorry, that's my mom's cell phone going off in the background. And so, happy to be here and happy to be your council member. You'll hear throughout the theme of this presentation, one of the things that I have been pushing for is equity. I think that regardless of where you are in the city of San Diego, if you are in a city facility, it should look the same, it should feel the same, and it should smell the same. That's absolutely not the case right now. And I could give you guys multiple examples of why and how that isn't the case. So I keep on pushing for that equity within the city. So it's an honor to be here, but I also want to begin tonight's event by introducing my staff. You guys know that we can't do anything without our staffs. They're just an integral part of our everyday work. So I want to introduce Eddie Padilla. He's my representative for the northern part of the district. He grew up in San Diego, graduated with the degree in poli-sci from SDSU. And just a little fun fact, he loves the outdoors and he's also a very talented DJ. Chris Johnsmeyer oversees my office's digital efforts. He moved to San Diego in 2014 from Norway and graduated with the political science degree also from SDSU. Chris plays the accordion and also enjoys hiking as well. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to these dedicated individuals should you have any questions or concerns. So we're going to move on to the agenda. Tonight's town hall is going to feature a short video highlighting some of our accomplishments from 2020. Then we're going to provide an overview of the city's efforts against COVID-19 pandemic, which include our rental assistance, small business relief, and vaccination updates. We're also going to present new details on park developments occurring in the 92102 and 92113 zip codes in District 8, and how some of my recent council policy actions are going to help fund these developments. Lastly, we're going to highlight some of our upcoming events, and we're going to also be open for questions. So Chris, if you may please start the video.
Hi, I'm San Diego Council member Vivian Moreno. It's been over 2 years since I took my oath of office, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve the residents of District 8. I'd like to share some highlights from the past year and update you on what's ahead in 2021. 2020 has been a challenging year for all of us. COVID-19 pandemic has greatly impacted all of our lives. I want to thank all of our healthcare workers and those on the front line who've provided critical support and services during this pandemic. This has taken a huge economic toll in our communities. It's one thing that has kept me hopeful. It is incredible generosity I have witnessed from our community. Many nonprofits and dedicated individuals throughout District 8 have stepped up to provide much needed food and other resources to families in need. From the Sherman Heights Community Center to Ocean View Church in Otay Mesa and to Hearts and Hands in San Isidro, our community's joint effort to assist our neighbors has been truly inspiring. In June, the City Council passed a $15 million rent assistance program that provided up to $4,000 in economic rental relief to residents. Almost 400 households in District 8 received this assistance, and more funding is on the way with the Council's most recent allocation of an additional $5 million. We also saw results following my successful push to sue the federal government over the mismanagement of our cross-border waterways. I was excited to see the $300 million allocation from the EPA to combat the transborder pollution in the Tijuana River Valley. This summer, my office kicked off our Clean the Streets initiative, where we held monthly street cleanups and provided large item dumpsters throughout District 8. In total, we provided over 30 large dumpsters and cleaned several miles of streets. We will continue this program in 2021 and hope you will join us when health restrictions permit. My office is also working on providing more green space in our communities. Park upgrades are currently underway on J Street in Stockton and Gamma Street in Shelltown. The city's Park and Rec department recently approved a general design for Bayer Park, which will be located at the eastern end of Bayer in San Isidro. I encourage members of the public to contact my office today to find out how you could support a park near you. The California Transportation Commission approved over $40 million in grant funding for the new Otay Mesa East Port of Entry, a 21st century project that will drastically cut border wait times. I've also continued to work on affordable housing and neighborhood equity policies. The successful opening of Benson Place and recent approval of Ventana del Sur apartments in San Isidro is a testimony to that. In the coming months, my office will be hosting virtual office hours. These will be one-on-one online meetings where you could speak to me directly with any city concern you may have. I'm hopeful that once vaccines are made available to all our communities, we will be able to gather again and celebrate life together. Lastly, I'm at your service, and please do not hesitate to contact me for any assistance. Best wishes.
Thank you, Chris. So going back to the slides, one of the first things I want to mention today, and as the video mentioned, COVID-19 pandemic has caused significant disruption to all of our lives, but especially to the residents of District 8. Together with funds received from the state and the federal government, the city authorized, and this is updated from the video, $95 million in rental and utility assistance program. The utilities part is the SDG&E, and this is basically to help low-income households pay any unpaid rent and utilities. So the online application portal was made available March 15th, and my staff is going to put in the chat the link so you guys have it in the chat box. Applications can be submitted as long as funds are available. I encourage every household to apply as soon as possible. It might not be you, but it definitely could be a family member or a neighbor. The city's also partnered with various community organizations who are helping residents fill out this application. Two of the organizations that you guys know of that could help with the application process is the Chicano Federation, and we're going to put the number, and also Logan Heights CDC. My staff is going to provide the information for these organizations in these chat boxes, in the chat box. I really want to highlight this program because we are not applying at the rate in which I know that the need is there. I just recently spoke to the San Diego Housing Commission, and one of the applications, I just asked like, hey, how much are people applying for? One person told me that they actually, they have an application right now for a person who is backed up in their rent with $20,000, and they are going to provide that person the funding. So I tell people, absolutely apply for this program. Some folks have told me, hey, well, I'm a homeowner, but remember that it includes the public utility. So it includes San Diego Gas and Electric. Another thing to note is that we are not asking for immigration status whatsoever. So for those neighbors who are concerned with that part, we are absolutely not asking for immigration status. And just so you guys know, over $40 million have been encumbered. And so, which means that $40 million are allocated to people that haven't been released, but they're allocated. So we still have an extra 45 million. So please encourage people to sign up for that. So we're going to move on to the Small Business Relief Fund. Governor Newsom has also established a $2 billion program that can help impact businesses with up to, I think I jumped a few slides here, but let me go back and also highlight the small business through the President Biden's American Rescue Act. It includes economic relief for small businesses and separate funds from restaurants and venue operations. We know that that was a significant issue in the previous go around. And so for more information on this relief program, business owners, you guys can sign up for a free one-on-one counseling session with any of the local small business development centers. Link is also going to be on the current slide, and we're also going to input it on the chat box. Moving on to Governor Newsom, he's also established a $2 billion program that can help impacted businesses with grants of up to $25,000. The next round of this program is going to begin on Wednesday, April 28th at 9 a.m. And applications can only be submitted for 1 week. So you can actually begin preparing your application now by going to www.careliefgrant.com, and you'll get more information. Also, the link is going to be provided on the chat box. If you could move on to the next slide, please. COVID-19 vaccine is our best tool to end the pandemic. On Monday, April 19th, the vaccine has been made available to anyone over the age of 16. I know appointment demand is still high, but I encourage you to keep checking online or calling 211. 2 weeks ago, my office helped organize a large vaccination event in Barrio Logan. Together with Family Health Centers, Latino Equity Council, and AMR, we were able to vaccinate over 2,000 individuals. We went door to door. I went door to door as well. Last week, we also held another event in San Ysidro where we vaccinated almost 600 residents. So, and as I mentioned, prior to both events, my staff and I went door to door to sign people up. I always tell people there is a digital divide in our community, and my office is committed to using every tool we have to get the word out. I'm also happy to report that 1/2 of San Diego residents have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, and about 1/3 is fully vaccinated. District 8 has been one of the most impacted communities in San Diego, and I've been working really hard to request additional resources. We currently have 3 county-sponsored vaccination sites within District 8, and Mountain View Education Complex also offers vaccination appointments. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Eddie Padilla, who's going to provide us with an update on new developments in northern part of District 8. Eddie, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So we all understand that District 8 has often been forgotten and been the subject of unkept promises. But we're very happy to announce that 6 park projects within the Northern District 8 communities have been added to the project development pipeline. So I'm happy to announce that Sherman Heights Community Center Playground Capital Improvement Project was fully funded in last year's budget cycle at Councilmember Moreno's request. The improvements to this playground include a new playground equipment, picnic tables, and the addition of a rubberized surface for safety. Construction is expected to begin next month, May 2021, and it should be concluded in this winter. Bay Street and Island Avenue Mini Park capital improvement projects have also been fully funded. The improvements to these mini parks include playground upgrades, new security lighting, picnic tables, and associated pathways. Clay Street and Gamma Street Mini Park capital improvement projects have been fully funded as well. The improvements to these mini parks include playground upgrades, new security lighting, picnic tables, and ADA upgrades. Clay Street Mini Park is actually pretty close to being done, so we're really excited about that. Councilmember Moreno has been advocating for the creation of the Boston Avenue Linear Park, a small park that was envisioned in the 2013 Barrio Logan Community Plan update. This small linear park will include minimal facilities, a bike lane, trees for shade, and green space. This project is still in the beginning stages, but $75,000 in grant money has already been secured to draft the general development plan. I'm also happy to update you all that the Chicano Park Museum is moving along rapidly thanks to support from Councilmember Moreno. The new museum and cultural center, championed by the Chicano Park Steering Committee, focuses on the historic creation of Chicano Park and the culture it commemorates. Designated a National Historic Landmark in 2017, Chicano Park is home to the world's largest concentration of Chicano murals and is a symbol of pride, self-determination, and social activism. Councilmember Moreno supported this museum with over $100,000 in funds to assist in the construction and opening of this museum. And this museum is scheduled to be open in late 2021. Now I'll get back to Councilmember Moreno.
Wonderful, exciting things coming to our district. And thank you, Eddie. I'd also like to talk about our council policy that we've been working on for District 8. Earlier this month, my Climate Equity Fund proposal was unanimously passed by the City Council. This was a fund that I thought about last summer, and it really was due to the EDCO funding that we have in Barrio Logan. And this fund will direct a portion of city revenues to new infrastructure projects in communities with moderate to low access to opportunities, as is defined by the city's Climate Equity Index. The fund is intended to fund pedestrian and bicycle transportation enhancements, roadway improvements to facilitate biking and walking, also includes installation of streetlights, enhancements to public transit related infrastructure, and expansion of green canopy. So beginning in fiscal year 22, which this is the budget that we're looking at right now, an estimated revenue of $5 million are going to be allocated to this Climate Equity Fund. And as Eddie mentioned, the park projects do require additional funding to proceed with the development. And these are the types of projects that the Climate Equity Fund is intended to help in essence. Additionally, if you don't mind moving to the next slide, in February, I successfully passed an update to the City Council's antiquated policy for unimproved streets. This 60-year-old council policy, in my opinion, racist policy, prevented City Streets Division from working on these streets, such as South Bancroft and Greeley Avenue in Stockton. 76% of the unimproved streets are located within Council District 4 and 8. And with this new updated policy, these streets can now be brought up to city standard. So that was a really big win for us. So the next big project that's happening in the northern part of D8 is that the Port of San Diego is planning to create an updated transportation corridor on Harbor Drive. This concept is called Harbor Drive 2.0. It includes new traffic signals, a protected bike lanes along the Bayshore Bikeway, urban greenery to enhance the look of Harbor Drive, intelligent transportation system to separate trucks from regular traffic, and obviously much, much more. So we're really pushing for that project through the Port of San Diego. The next item, please, is the Barrio Logan Community Plan Update, which is currently being updated. Obviously, a community plan serves as a blueprint for the community's vision of the neighborhood. It describes what type of development, whether it be housing, industrial, or commercial, what should be in the different parts of the neighborhood, what parks, open space, and mobility options the community will have to access, and establishes what type of programs and services are prioritized for the community. The 2013 plan update was repealed by a citywide referendum in 2014, as most of you guys know, but a recent agreement between stakeholder groups, including the Barrio Logan Community Plan Group, proposed changes to land uses and zonings in a small area between industrial uses at the port and the residential area of the community. The remainder of the Barrio Logan community is recommended to move forward in the plan established in 2013. So one of the most important aspects of our job is to provide a budget for the next fiscal year, which starts on July 1st. Developing a new city budget is a 365-day process that resets on June 15th when a new budget is adopted. In January, I released my budget priority memos, which included projects such as the rehabilitation of the Logan Heights Library, the Chollas Creek Trail funding, and much, much more. Each council member's priorities are then taken into consideration by the mayor as he or she prepares the proposed budget by April 15th. And this happened this week. So starting next month, each city department will appear before the city council to present their proposed budget in a series of public meetings. I encourage all of you to get involved and submit feedback on what you'd like to see in the budget during these meetings. A link to the proposed budget and information on how to submit public comment is going to be available and not only on the slide, but also in the chat box. And so that leads us to our upcoming events. My office has multiple events planned for the next few months. It's like I mentioned, as I started this conversation with you guys, COVID really changed the way that we engage with our residents. I have found that these community cleanups, there are a ton of people stopping while we're cleaning up, chatting with us, giving us issues in the community. Our food distributions is definitely a great place to engage with the residents. And as we were going door to door, letting folks know about the COVID-19 vaccinations in both Barrio Logan and San Ysidro, it provided us an opportunity to disperse information about the rental assistance that's provided. And I have to say 9 times out of 10, people would tell me, I didn't know about this. So we as representatives, we have to kick it up a notch. And so I would encourage you guys to not only share with your neighbors when we do have a Clean the Streets initiative. One, it's a good way to get rid of things that a lot of us are doing spring cleaning. So it's a good way to get rid of unwanted, goods at your home. Second, it's a really great way to engage with the community and give back, right? On our slide, you're gonna see a picture from South Gregory Street where we trimmed the overgrown vegetation and we picked up trash yesterday. On top of that, we also host large dumpster events, and this is where you can drop off unwanted items, and this is completely free of charge. Just so you know, our next cleanup event is actually this weekend on Saturday, April 25th. It's going to be at 529 33rd Street in Stockton. And so once again, if you're doing any spring cleaning, please feel free to drop off the items, or if you just want to say hello, we're going to be there from 9 a.m. to about 11. Also, on April 30th, we're going to host a similar event in San Ysidro. And as you guys know, we're moving around, one weekend we're in, or one week we're in the north, then we go to Otay Mesa, then we go to San Isidro. So we're trying to make sure we show love to everybody, every single community. And we're gonna continue to host these monthly town halls throughout 2021. I would also encourage you to sign up for a monthly e-newsletter just to stay updated on all the events. And so I think these are also a great way for residents to know what we're doing in the at City Hall. Sometimes a lot of really neat things are happening and the information isn't disseminated. So I wanted to let you guys know. And also the projects that are coming forward, right? Harbor Drive 2.0 is at its absolute infant stage, but we need you guys to help get us federal and state funding, push the mayor to add these projects to his budget, and just really have a pulse of what's going on in our community. I am happy to open it up for questions from the audience. So if you could please raise your hand, or if you guys have any comments you would like me to know about what's happening in your community, absolutely, please let me know. My staff is also going to display the link to all of the resources we presented here tonight. And as I always state with every single resident, also know that we are here to help in any government entity. So for instance, I was at a food distribution in, I don't remember where it was now, but it was a resident who we had helped in his EDD. His EDD had backed up for months, and he contacted our office, and we were able to connect him, and he finally was able to get his money. So anything we could help out in, we're here to help. So Chris, how are we going to do this? Are they going to raise their hand, or?
They'll be raising their hands, and then I will be asking them to unmute. And once they're asked to unmute, they can ask their question.
Wonderful. So I see Pita. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and call on Pita and Miss Angelina.
Yeah, this is Pita and Maid Angelina. She lives down the street, also a District 8 resident. And I was trying to help her with Zoom, but we got a little bit short on time, so that's why she's here.
Oh, wonderful.
But I have a few questions. I know that we have a lot of lights out, and it was really alarming to see on my reply back that it's taken about 120 days to get lights fixed. Every single light on Market, on the overpass from downtown. And I was walking from Petco Park when we go to the games, and it's completely, not even one of the lights was on. And I have the report number, but I did get that reply, and it was quite alarming. And Angelina as well, she walks her dog, and she was telling me about some lights. So is that correct? 104 months then to get those lights on?
To me, that doesn't sound correct. I will say that I know COVID-19 has definitely put a damper on how quickly we get things fixed. And also, there are a lot of people who really appreciate Get It Done. But there are also flaws, right? There are also flaws. So if ever you have any Get It Dones that are not accomplished in a timely manner, or if they simply close it on you, as has been the case with us, please let us know. Just, take a picture of it on your phone and forward it to Eddie, and we're more than happy to address that. Thank you for reporting the lights, though. One of the things that's very important is that the residents get activated and start, requesting, or when you see something, even if you're not going to report it on Get It Done, shoot me an email. Okay. Absolutely shoot me an email, and we're more than happy to address the issue. Just so you know, my staff does go, I do ask them on occasion to go drive around the community at night to address these issues so that we can be proactive about it and look for potholes. They do drives, and I encourage them to do it, once in a while at night to see those types of issues, because if you don't live in the neighborhood, you don't know, you don't see it, right? But we're trying to get all of our, what is it? Cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's.
Yeah, I was just, I mean, but Eddie definitely has helped me in the past with I would get it done, things that haven't been addressed, but this one was very, just alarming because it was every single light. I can tell sometimes we have a light here, a light there, but not even one light was on. So I wanted to make sure that wasn't intentional, or if it was something that I wasn't aware of that was happening on the overpasses, that the lights were out.
I
The
haven't,
second,
I haven't heard of anything, but
Okay.
we'll look into it and we'll
Okay.
let you know.
My second question is, I'm ecstatic to finally see our community center get its park area fixed. I also heard you mentioning about the actual, is that the land, the soccer field, that was shared park space with the Sherman Heights Elementary School? Is that what you're saying? There's gonna be some tables or some?
No, I absolutely didn't say that.
Okay,
This
so
is
I was
the
trying to, yeah.
playground in the Sherman Heights Community Center. I was able to get $300,000 to do the upgrade.
Okay, so there's nothing happening on the actual, the picnic tables was probably from another park, and I thought I heard something about Island and J, so I'm like,
Do you
wonder
want to
what-
go back, Chris, to the slide, to the mini parks? Yeah,
Yeah,
so we could take a deeper dive because these mini parks are about to come online pretty quickly, so. let
yeah,
me-
thought I saw something about it, at J Street and
There we are.
Island?
It's the J Street. Here we go. So it's J Street. So you see it, that's the one on top.
The J Street and Island Avenue mini park capital improvement projects have been fully funded. Oh, so that means that is the one at the Sherman's Community Center.
No, this
No,
is this. Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, so this, the J Street one in particular, this one is in Stockton, the community of Stockton, I believe off of 32nd Street.
Oh, okay, so 32nd and Island and J, okay.
Yeah, this
Great.
one's a little further east.
Okay, I thought, so that was my mistake. I heard wrong. And my last question was, when you have those dumpsters,
Mhm.
and I know, like, for example, there was one that happened in Sherman Heights, and it was my mistake. I thought it was on a Saturday. I don't know why. So we planned on it for a Saturday. I'm like, wait, that was yesterday, not on Saturday. So my question is, are we allowed, like, if you're having something that pretty close to us that are still District 8, can we take stuff, or is that not allowed? Is it just for that district when you do it? For that section of District 8?
I don't think I'm understanding your question, but let me answer it this way. If any resident shows up to if anybody shows up to one of our dumpster events, we absolutely are not asking, where you live, where you're, none of that. We could accept it. We will absolutely take it. No questions asked whatsoever. If anything, you're probably going to leave with free swag from us, right? And we don't care where you're from. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't. So, and to your point, we are moving the dates. So sometimes we're going on Saturdays, like this weekend, and then we also have to fit in Fridays. So we're modifying it. So yeah, if you, for instance, in a few weeks, we'll be down in Otay Mesa. If you go home after the dumpster event and you forgot to add, bring something, come on down in 2 weeks to San Isidro or to Otay Mesa. That's not a problem whatsoever.
There's gonna be one, right? Do you mind sharing that address one more time for the Saturday one? And it's 9 to 11 a.m., right?
529 33rd Street, and I'll be sure to put that in the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The grass? Oh, yes. Angelina was actually asking me, the area surrounding the school, which we did a little bit of cleanup like right before school, but the north part of the school, is that something we address with the city, or do we talk to the principal? Just about clearing that area. Yeah, in front, between the community center and the school, the north part of the sidewalk is like, there's a lot of weeds there. So.
Yeah, I can take the lead on that. It's a collaboration usually between the school district and the
Right.
city. It's a little complicated, but I can touch base with you offline about
Okay,
that.
perfect. Thank you so much.
No, and thank you for what you guys are doing in our community. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Vivian. We appreciate you as well. Thank you for everything, and especially for the community center, the kids, when all this is open, it's really great for the kids to finally have that back after so many years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I saw Lizzie had her hand up. Lizzie, do you want to go ahead?
Okay, thanks, Eddie. Thanks for muting me. Hi, everyone. Hi, Vivian. Thank you so much, Ms. Moreno, for everything that you're doing. I really appreciate it. H&R Block and Nextdoor have a program called Make Every Block Better. They award 10 grants for projects to help improve neighborhoods.
Mhm.
They take submissions from people across the country. So there are thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions. My idea was chosen as a finalist. So they went from thousands to 15 to 20. So I'm one of those 15 to 20. They'll pick 10. My idea was to create a dog park at Memorial Park. I recently, my dog got out of the gate in March. So my friends, family, and I went knocking on 2,000 doors trying to find him. So in talking to residents, I realized that inclusion, accessibility, and equity aren't just human things. Animals suffer as well when they don't have the resources that they need. And I'm hoping by building a dog park and being an animal ambassador for the Humane Society, we can bring resources, education, training, and tools by having this center at Memorial Park. I'd like to know if you can support it by writing a letter of support, and also if we could meet to talk about adding this park to the budget. There's a quick turnaround time. They don't waste no time next door when they're doing this grant project. So the sooner the better, just because there's a tight timeline. And even if it's a temporary, pocket dog park initially, until we get the ball really rolling, that would be great. But yes, I'd like to chat with you further about that. And hopefully, by the end of May, if I'll get the grant.
That's my dog. Sorry about that. Luna. I promise I can't make her bark. Give me Luna. So I am a dog mom, and so absolutely 100% I would be supportive of a dog park. I think it would absolutely activate Memorial Park. But before I give you my full yes, I obviously need to read everything and make sure that I'm able to deliver what you're asking me. If we are able to build a dog park in that vicinity, in that park, I'm 110% behind that. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, my pleasure. So one of the things I will ask is, if you don't mind, just connecting with Eddie to make sure that we can set up a meeting and chat about that.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so who's next?
Mr. Villa, Ricardo Villa, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much. I've been a resident of over 40 years, and amazing changes happening. I thank you very much for everything you've done and continue to do. The one thing that I'd like to mention, and probably some direction on living on 39th and National, is in the past 4 or 5 months, we've seen 4 to 5 head-on collisions happening, and it has become a little bit of a speedway. A new stoplight went down on, I believe, 41st or 42nd. But as the economy is going to get better, that traffic is going to get even more and more. And, it always seems to happen later in the afternoon when people are heading home. There's there's another stoplight on 38th, but it just doesn't seem to slow the traffic or the speeding that happens. And it's always a head-on collision. I always go up to check it. And I guess being a resident, there's never been stoplights per se all the way to 43rd. But the incidents still continue. So what direction or what advice would you give as far as to try to get the survey done on National Avenue to kind of stop these accidents that continue to happen?
Yeah.
Councilmember, if you don't mind, I think I can take this one. Mr. Villa, did you mention that you're referring to 39th and National?
Correct.
Okay, great. So just, just for your information, that area is within District 9. However, I'm happy to take your information down and connect you with the appropriate staff member to request a traffic evaluation. Would you mind shooting me your email in the chat?
Certainly, I will do that. And on a separate note, on Councilmember Moreno, I'm also the chairman of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I used to live in Sherman, so therefore I thought I would have the opportunity that you were in my district, and now I feel sad that I'm not in that area. But thank you so much for everything you do.
No, absolutely. And thank you for your service. One of the things that I would recommend is that absolutely you formally request for an evaluation to be done in that vicinity. The more people you get engaged, I think that the better, right? If you have neighbors that feel the same way, the city does take in consideration the amount of people who contact and contact about a certain area. But ultimately they will do a study and they will see if they'll put out the little line and see how fast people are going. I'm sure as is the case, they're driving too fast. So they will recommend either a stop sign or a light. And you are right in that, when we do one thing to one part of the neighborhood, it impacts another part of the neighborhood. So it's really good to be vigilant. And also for these drivers to not forget that there's kids that live here, right? There's elders that are walking. So happy to help you out with that, but that would be my recommendation.
If I may ask one other question, and in listening to what you're describing as the rental and the utility side, and I don't want to call it the shortfall, but maybe the assistance, we are doing outreach, and I know we've done one outreach in San Isidro, and our door-to-door has been very successful, and maybe that's as far as us assisting, if you would think about or consider that. We are continuously doing outreach in the communities, especially in the south of San Diego. So maybe we could help with that. So I will put my info in the chat for that.
Thank you for that. As you guys know, as I said, the digital divide is real. There's also hesitation from the residents. Sometimes people think this is way too good to be true. I've been trying to this is going to sound ridiculous, but I've been putting my face on some of these, rental assistance programs, just so people know, like, yes, it's real. I'm here. I'm putting my name. There is money out there. There's still $45 million, you guys. And the thing that kills me is that we know the need is there. We absolutely know that there are people hurting. There are, single moms, single dads hurting right now. And there's absolutely no need for them to be hurting. Absolutely no need. This is the money that was provided to us by President Biden. So this is part of the whole big stimulus package. And what is it now? A month later, we still have $45 million. So they brought out all the communities, like by district, who had applied. They didn't give us the quantity because they haven't allocated the funding, but District 8, even in all of our robust efforts, we still, I mean, I think it was like 600 families that had applied, as opposed to D9 and D3, which I think have more organizations, and they're a little bit more organized with the organizations. I mean, they had over 1,500 people applying, and our community has a lot of people in the service industry that have been hit really hard. So please help us get the word out.
Well, I'd be glad to help out. I know that the Hispanic Chamber will do its part, and I know that we've been successful. So I'll send my info and see if we can connect, and we will gladly do that, help out.
We appreciate it very much, Mr. Villa.
Mr. Lazinski?
Following up on Ricardo's statement about National Avenue, I've even started a petition. I've contacted Caltrans. Particular terrible area on National and 28th, where it's dangerous for pedestrians. There's even, the strange gate blocking you from crossing the street. um,
Uh,
which is not just, not everybody owns a car. A person shouldn't take a car to cross the street. But yeah, there's been hit and runs in that area. Is there going to be anything done? And also, what is it, by Cesar Chavez and the I-5? The Tamale lady was killed last year. I mean, is there anything being done about these pedestrian issues? 28th and National is really a bad one because you got the people rushing to NASCO to and from work, and it's the highway on-ramp is right there and more directed to be car centric instead of pedestrian safe.
You know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to attempt to say your last name,
Fine.
Roger, Mr. Roger. You bring up a good point. You bring up the ingress and egress of our highways or freeways, if you will. They're very dangerous, actually. Right now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about it, and I think honestly that's partially due to the fact that the highways, were put in many years ago before there was even a thought of, bikes and pedestrians, right? Even though we've been here all along. But maybe that is something that we could take a deeper dive in regards to this particular the one that you mentioned where the Tamale lady passed away. I didn't know. I'm sorry. It wasn't Miss Ignacia, was it? No,
I don't remember her name, but
I don't. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. But we definitely can take a deeper dive and start engaging with Caltrans and seeing how we can make it more pedestrian friendly, because we do have a very mobile community, right? In that we walk more, we bike more. So let us engage Caltrans with that and start requesting, because as I mentioned earlier, with the equity fund, these are projects that we could start looking at, right? But one of the things that I always say, and I've said this since I first got elected, even before, if you're not a CIP, I always say, if you ain't a CIP, you ain't nothing in the city of San Diego, right? So we need to first develop a capital improvement project. We need to push to get a capital improvement project, a pedestrian. So as an example, National Avenue has a National Avenue revitalization plan, right? I'm sure you guys have heard of the Imperial Avenue and National Avenue revitalization plan. We need to extrapolate projects from those plans and help make them capital improvement projects, CIPs, so that we're able to tap into funding at like Sandag's active transportation funding. I'm going to be at Sandag tomorrow, and I got word that the city of San Diego did not receive any of the active transport to ATP. And this is exactly what these funds are for, because the city of San Diego is applying for big blocks of land, right? Big swaths of land. And so one of the things I'm going to be encouraging the city is to apply for smaller projects. So maybe we can start with National Avenue 1, and we could start looking at what type of projects they identified in the revitalization plan. I have 3 revitalization plans. I have Palm Avenue, Imperial, and National. So I think it's high time that we start extrapolating projects and allocating the funding. But the first number one thing is the capital improvement project. Eddie, can you make a note of that? So for the National Revitalization Plan, the active ATP, City of San Diego, CIP. We'll work on that.
And I have just one more question. The memorial pool has been closed to the public, but high schools have been able to rent it out. And then just other hours, it's sitting there unused, which is kind of a waste of tax money since the cost of a pool is expensive to maintain. In D9, the Martin Luther King pool has been open since November with access to the public, and they do a very good program they have a lane reservation system. Can you please get that pool open? We locals need something to do, and this staying at home is driving me crazy.
Absolutely. I think Eddie has an update for you on that, but thank you for bringing it to our attention.
All right, that's all.
I'll reach out to you offline, Mr. Luzinski. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Taylor, I will go ahead and unmute you. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. You can unmute yourself.
Hello, Councilmember Moreno and everyone else. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being a champion on the Climate Equity Fund. I think those dollars are going to really assist with some of the unfunded needs within our community of concern. Specifically, I'd like to, bring to your attention again that I've put forth a recommendation to have lighting done on Harrison Avenue. And it has been evaluated by the engineer. It has been approved. It's an unfunded need. And I'm glad that you brought up capital improvement projects, because I think that it would be helpful if you can maybe remind me, as well as some of the other community members, when we need to bring to your attention these capital improvement projects that have to do with infrastructure. Not just lighting for safety and health, but also for streets, because some of our streets are not in the condition that they should be. And when you speak of inequities, all you have to do is ride around the community, the southeastern area community, and see that we do not have the same level of resources being applied to our communities as other communities have. And so I'm glad that there's kind of a shift and a focus on those communities of concern, and that Climate Equity Fund is one of those areas that's going to fill in the gaps until we can get out of this hole that we're in with these budget shortfalls right now. You had mentioned earlier about the library on 28th Street. Are you speaking of the old library? And that was on the capital improvement project list. And so are there dollars earmarked to address the appearance and maybe get that building up and running to serve the community in Logan Heights? That's my first question.
Wonderful. Well, and I'd like to go back really quick on the lights. The lights on Harrison. So the city of San Diego currently has a $46 million with an M dollar backlog on lights. So we've identified, yes, we do need a light there, but we don't have the money. And so that was the purpose of the equity fund, right? Is that we need to be chipping away at that list of unfunded streetlights. So thank you for your comments about the equity fund. I proposed it last year during the previous administration, and it was kind of like, all right, good idea. And I have, to the credit of Mayor Todd Gloria, he said, let's do it, let's get it done. And literally there's $5 million this year being allocated for the Climate Equity Fund. So, I couldn't have done it without the mayor. Or at least it would have been a very big uphill battle, right? Because we need staff to help with those efforts. So moving on to the library at 28th Street. So since I came into office, I might have approached a few of the nonprofits that are available, that are present here, and I've been begging for a nonprofit to be housed in the library. The city of San Diego, in my tenure, has tried to sell the library 2 times now. And I said, over my dead body. This library belongs to the community. There are so many leaders who went and did their homework as kids, and you will not be able to sell this because I will chain myself up to the library. It's not happening. They wanted to sell it, and anyways, I'll stop there. And so one of the agencies that came up to me and said, and it's a big responsibility for a nonprofit, because the building is obviously not in good condition. It's a historic building, so they cannot demolish it. And as you guys know, upgrading a historic building sometimes is even more expensive than a regular home. So the entity that came to our office was the Bomberos de San Diego. So the Bomberos de San Diego do not have a physical office. They've never have, which I was astonished. And they said, "Hey, Vivian, we would really love for us to be housed there. We would provide, we would open it up to the community. We would provide classes for community members to come and get to know, how to become a firefighter, right? So the kid down the street could go to these classes and engage." And so one of the requests that I have made is for, and I'm happy to get into detail. Sometimes I get too far into how the sausage is made, but the funding that I'm looking at for that particular project is CDBG funding. Now, if just yesterday we approved the CDBG funding, and I have to share the love, right, with the other council members. So this year's CDBG funding has $3 million allocated for the JFK Park over in D4. So I couldn't vote no for that one, right? Because it's just, and we have to obviously work together. So next round of funding for CDBG dollars, I hope to have the study done for the library, the study meaning the assessment of how much it's going to cost to reconfigure that roof, right? How much it's going to cost to fix the roof. But it is absolutely one of my top priorities of the northern part of the district. And it's a priority that I'd like to say that the mayor shares with me. So the problem was this year we couldn't get any CDBG funding because we don't know what we don't know about the building, right? So, and then also another thing is we're also trying to get, the state has a lot of funding for historic buildings. So we're trying to get some of the state funding to cobble together with our CDBG federal funding. So that's the answer for the library, but I hear you. We were cleaning up just a few months ago, right, Eddie? And it's gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. We want to see that space activated. It's a very interesting space because there's not a lot of parking, right? And although there is street parking, and it belongs to the community, so we want to give it back to the community.
And I just also wanted to add, I'm not sure if Councilmember Moreno mentioned this, but in our Climate Equity Fund recommendations, we did recommend to the mayor to fund lighting on Harrison Avenue.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, so we're working hard on these efforts. Mr. Taylor, I think you asked me about how to kick off a CIP. I don't know why I'm having that premonition right now. And one of the easiest ways to kick off a CIP, the easiest, is to extrapolate it from a plan update. So we have a park down in the South Bay named, well, it's not a park, it's a plot of land named Southwest Park. 3 years ago, it was item P14 in the Otay Mesa Nestor Community Plan Update. We extrapolated it and we made it into a CIP. So I would encourage you to look at your plan update since the Southeastern Plan Update was just done, and that you extrapolate from it, because there's already been a study, there's already, an EIR, all the fun stuff that takes forever. But very important though, but still nonetheless takes a while. So my answer to you for the CIPs, the easiest way is to take it out of a plan update. That's the easiest way. You're muted. I think you have to unmute him, Eddie, again, yeah. All right, now let's see, try to unmute yourself. There you are.
Okay, there we go. I understand that you're going to be attending the Southeastern San Diego Planning Group meeting coming up in the near future. And maybe we can get into some more of the details regarding that at that time. And I really appreciate your willingness to provide direction about how we can address some of the unmet needs within our community. Because as you hear today, there's a lot of health and safety issues that are on the table that are not funded. We just don't have the funds for it. And if there are other types of funding mechanisms that we could possibly tap into, there's a lot of foundations out there that may be able to assist San Diego
Mhm.
in addressing some of these areas. When I think it was Leslie spoke about H&R Block and also next door, that would be an excellent opportunity for us to maybe tap into some of those funds for community updates and or plans. But extrapolating the specifics in the community plan and bring it forth
Mhm.
to actually be implemented is an area of concern of mine.
So you're
Uh,
you're speaking my language. This is what I've been pounding the drum on at City Hall, is that we have a lot of state and federal issues, and they need to be fixed with state and federal dollars, right? And we are being heard. So, for instance, Prop 68 funding, we have finally put in an application for JFK in District 4, and for Buyer Park in down in District 8 in the southern part. There's also funding through the state, right? There's a ton of funding through the state that the city just doesn't tap into. When I was chatting with Mr. Roger, that ATP from Sandag, the city, I mean, did just this year, we applied and we got nothing, right? So there's a lot of another good example of this is the first time home buyer program. The San Diego Housing Commission, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't get accepted for the funds this year. And I'm thinking, we're the second largest city in the state. How could we just not get accepted and we just go along? No, we have to go and pound the pavement and say, why didn't we get accepted? And how could we get accepted? And how could we do, what could we do better next year? So I'm not taking no for an answer, because even I hear what you're saying. You're talking about private funding, right? And
yes.
as an example, there is an example in San Isidro with the San Isidro Park where a young lady, she got $200,000 from Union Bank, and she actually got Casa Familiar to be the what are they called? I don't know if they're called the underwriter or the person the entity that received the funds, and she just totally reconfigured a park playground, and it really was activated through residents like Lizzie, right? Like Janet Gaitan that saw a need and figured it out. So, but at the state and federal level, we're absolutely doing that. Where I'm pushing them, like Harbor Drive 2.0, that is not the city of San Diego's, only issue. We're talking about a federal issue, because we have a lot of military personnel going in and out of Harbor Drive. We're talking about a state issue, right? Because you have those Dole trucks going to God knows where, Arizona, right? To go get, so we need state and federal funding. I'm on board
Right.
with that.
Thank you. My last question has to do with environmental health. As you probably are aware, in District 8, there is a higher percentage of respiratory issues, not only with COVID, but also with asthma and other types of respiratory issues. And part of it is a direct relationship to NASCO, as well as the freeway cutting right through Barrio Logan and Logan Heights and Sherman Heights. Are you doing any work to address some of those environmental health issues that affect our community?
Well, one of the things that we're doing right now is we're offering free trees to be planted. So if any resident is interested in getting free trees. That is today, right? That could happen today. Another way that we're addressing this is through the equity funding, right? If there are more lights, maybe you are more prone to walk to your store as opposed to drive, right? As Mr. Roger pointed out, these are dangerous intersections and you'd rather get in a car and drive. So that is the way that through this equity fund, I think I am head on with any environmental issues occurring. With that though, please note that the county is the overseer of air quality in our region. So we always have to make sure that we're including them into the conversation. But I haven't been shy to contact the county when there are odors and when we're able to call upon them to address some of these matters.
Great. I've done the same thing. And the environmental justice element is not only with the county, but it's with the city as well. And so I just want to make sure that there is the working relationship between the city and the county to address some of those areas that have a higher propensity of environmental health issues.
Yeah, and for instance, for Barrio Logan, one of the things we're pushing for is Harbor Drive 2.0, right? To get
Yes.
those trucks out of our local streets. Obviously enforcing the trailer truck route. I'm out there taking pictures as well. Pushing for Boston Linear Park. That's another one that I've been a huge proponent of to get more green space. And so yes, pushing the Barrio Logan plan update. That's another one, right? Where we're going to be able to address some of these matters. But unfortunately, yes, we're left with old policies that, that were, the highway was obviously before our time, but we're left to address those matters. And so, yeah, and we're discovering new ways in which we can address those matters, right? So if you know of a city collaborating with Caltrans in a certain way or getting something, let us know so that we could say, hey, what about us? How are you addressing our issues? So yeah,
Right.
Caltrans is another one that we're continuously engaging. I'm on the litter abatement committee now with Sandags, which we're calling upon them to, you guys need this is your property, right? You guys eminently domained this property, so clean it up.
Right.
Sorry to
let's
interrupt everybody.
Let's make equity count within the work that we're all doing, because we've been left out for far too long. And so let's just make equity count.
Sorry to interrupt everybody. We've reached 7 p.m. The council member does have to get going. I'm happy to stay on to take any outstanding questions that there might be, but I really wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight.
Yes, and if I
Thank you.
don't mind, Eddie, me saying a few words before we leave. I want to continue doing this work with you guys, letting you guys know what we're doing at City Hall and how we're working for you guys. And I would ask you to continue to engage with me. Any vote, any policy matter, please, please, please let me know. I sit on MTS board, I sit on Sandag's board, and let me know how I could be of service to you guys. And it's been a pleasure to be here with you tonight, and have a wonderful evening and stay connected, everybody, okay?
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.